Let's see. Hello, 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 my people. Are we live? That is the question. It says excellent. That means we are live. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. Let me minimize. Let me actually put in the chat. All right, guys, check this out. This is the dot card. Give me 1 second. Let me copy that link right there. Let me put this in the message, and then we can get out of that. Okay, so what I wanted to say, guys, thank you very much first for being here. I really do appreciate you guys stopping by. Please help me grow the channel by liking and subscribing. We're trying to build this up, trying to get a good community here. If you have any questions, please put it in the chats, and I'll do my best to answer those questions and or make a video to answer that question. This is for training. This is not financial advice. If you need financial advice, please go see a financial planner. All right, guys. So the first thing is, this is my dot card. Please hang in here and watch with us. I'm just going to go through the spiel now, right? If you open up the dot card, you have a link to this YouTube, my Twitter, Instagram, the funded account that I use. My broker is the next website down. And then I have some Discord channels and a Telegram link. These are not mine. These are ones that I'm associated with. These are my friends. These are ones that if you're a new trader, you're just getting into it, go to these Discords, go to this Telegram, say hi, join those communities, and see what's up. Before we get into the charts, let's just look at the news real quick. All right, so today we do have one tiny bit of news. The Fed chair, not even the chairman, just a Fed guy speaking. I don't expect that to do a whole lot when it comes to volatility, but just know there's not much news. So let's just go through the pairs, guys. We did the overview last night, so not much has changed on that, but I did go through the ForEx pairs. So if you're a ForEx trader, please watch this, because here in a second, I'm going to go through a bunch of trades that I just got into this morning. I also set a bunch of limits, all right? So NASDAQ, what can we say? We're waiting for it to sell so that we can buy. Same thing on Dirty 30. Maybe we could get this trend line break, all right? And then perhaps we can get into a sell if we're playing trend line breaks, but that is 100% definitely trend line. We've also got the Elliott wave on the top side. 1, 2, 3. So let's see if we can get this thing to break trend and come down here into our buy zone. Then we can take buys. So there is a potential for a short on the dirtiest of 30. We also have structure area here. Okay, we had this area which was support. Now it tested it again as resistance. So we had a test here. We had a test here, 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 and here. It broke down. So if we could get a push back up, perhaps we can get like a little head shoulders, and then we could short it here. What up, Juan? Thank you very much, Juan, for joining in. Juan is a guy that I trade with a lot, so thanks, guys, coming in. Look, Juan, on Dirty 30, the only real thing I can see is we obviously want to buy down here, but we do have a trend line, and we do have the support and resistance area. I don't really mean it to be green. It should be purple because it's not a liquidity. It is a zone. All right, so we have this zone. If we could get a push up, perhaps there is a opportunity to scalp this. We'll see how far it comes down. I'm not really too concerned with the fibs, but we will use the fibs so we have a proper stop loss. But if we could get a push up, a push down and then a little bit up and retest this, we could probably get a short opportunity here. And then our TP is going to be the bottom of that wick, but really we need to come all the way down to here. Okay, so I would think TP1 would be there. We'll watch that to see if we can get some sort of movement. Perhaps just a little bit lower. We're not oversold yet, so perhaps we could get a retest this trend line and then a push back up. And if we get a push back up, we can retest and clear out all these candles here as form of liquidity. This was actually done during the Asian session, so I don't expect I don't know if that's true liquidity, because it's really just market consolidation before the market open. So we could get a push up to break through this. Hopefully we get into this area where my little box is at, and then we can sell off. So we'll have to play that. I'm not keen on taking the trade there. Oh, it's a trend line break. Yeah, but look at how many pips that is. So that's not a trade for me. If we can get a bounce off the trend line and come back up, and then we can get into this area. I'm not saying I'm going to wait for the 78 or the 886, but we'll see. We'll play that as it comes. All right, so that's 30. NASDAQ, again, there's basically nothing. I'm not double topping. I'm not trying to short this. We'll wait for it, and we'll wait for the buy. On Goldie, there is, I am hesitant to short this. It is overbought, and it is kind of like a double top here, but not really divergent because it's not getting higher. So we need to be super, super patient on this one because of the momentum that it has. If we step back to the 4-hour, we can really see that since February 24th, excuse me, 14th, February 14th, so that's 15, 16 days, whatever it is, 20 days, it's been really pushing up. So we need to be patient. This is a hell of a trend, and it's not just going to drop out of the sky out of nowhere. So this little hiccup here, I don't trust it. I'd like to see it also clear out this liquidity, and perhaps when we get in this sell zone is when we can start looking for sells. But I do have my eye on this double top. I do see it's there. But we're going to need some more confluences before that. So right now it's just a double top, and it's just overbought on the RSI. I'm not really, I can be more patient than that. I'm not really risking that. But here it is one. I did look at a bunch of pairs this morning, and I did get in some trades this morning, and I set some limit on the ForEx side, only because the indices has been kind of crazy. So yeah, okay. So let's break down this CAD-J trade that I was put a limit on. So as you can see, the CAD-J, we've been pretty bullish. It's pretty obvious, right? But then what I did is I marked off the top, right? So we're in that area of the tops. We come back just a little bit for the weekly. Okay, we're in this area right here, which could be a turnaround. So I come down to the daily. Okay, and I see this trend line that got formed right there, that yellow trend line. Well, the trend line broke. Okay, so that's what up, Wayne? So the trend line broke, giving me an indication that perhaps this is ready to turn around. Okay, and if I come in a little bit tighter, let's go to like the 4-hour, let's say. I had the trend line break, but then also this triple bottom broke. That's obviously liquidity, right? The market wanted to target that triple bottom, so it broke. So now I'm thinking, maybe this is due for a trend line break and like a good sell-off. Okay, so I'm willing to take that risk. So what I did then was I fibbed this sell top to bottom. Okay, sorry, I turned that on and then it's fucking loud. Give me 1 second. Can you guys hear that? I turned an extra fan on because my computer's fucking going high speed. Anyways, hopefully you guys cannot hear that extra fan I just kicked on. So what I did then was I fibbed that from top to bottom, excuse me. And I see that the 78.6 is sitting right in here, which is taking out this liquidity, right? And then, so that I see that. So then what else is out here? I see we have a first push, we have a down. Hopefully we're having a second push and a third push. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Elliott wave to come in and fulfill and get us into our sell spot. So then I drew a fib from the top of that first push. The TP is right in the middle of our sell zone. So that's what I'm going to do, right? I'm putting my limit right at the 78.6, and hopefully we can get in here. We have a small stop loss, but if we look on the daily and we really look at that trend, we want this trend to break. Even if we take a 50%, we're at a 6.8, almost a 7-to-1 trade on that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to come, maybe it's going to come deeper. Maybe it wants to target the bottom of, these wicks and maybe get in here and find these wicks as support. That's a pretty strong wick. But also, guys, look at that. Wick. This is target. I mean, that's liquidity. So I'm hoping at least we'll get a 50%. But if we can have some runners down here for liquidity, I mean, you're looking at a 14 to 1 trade. So I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to take that risk to come down and target these liquidities, and perhaps this is the area here where it's really going to find turnaround support, because again, if you look, that is resistance and that is support, so that is a good zone right there. So let's see if this is the top. Let's come back in a little bit smaller again so we can show the entry. There's a limit. I'm not in yet. But this is the break of structure. Clearly the break of structure here and the break of trend line. I'm waiting for a pullback. The 61.8 wouldn't be a horrible entry because that's also the 236 on that first push up. And that's the orange line which I drew, which is the tops of the previous. So that could be more like a head and shoulders. If we come to the 12-hour, I'll show you that that orange line is the top. Right, so I just drew an orange line and said, okay, it's pretty close. It's the top right here, right? So that's where that orange line is. And if we come in back into the smaller time frames, that orange line is right there, right? And so that could be the extension, the TP extension, and then also the 61.8 on that first sell fib. So perhaps we should put our entry right here at the 61.8. It wouldn't be a bad entry. I mean, you would have a small, obviously a larger stop loss, but the TP is still a very good risk to reward. So we'll make that call when we get there. We're not overbought yet on the 1 hour or the 2 hour. So perhaps I should just set a limit. Maybe I should set a, you know what, let's do this. Let's use this orange line and we will set an alarm there. So guys, when you go to TradingView, go to alarm, go to once per bar. So that way, every time it hits that, it gives you name. You can name it. What's this? CAD JPY sell. So when it gives you an alert, you'll know what it's talking about. So now I have an alert set there. My limit, I do believe, is up here, but I do have an alert set for right there. So there's CAD J. ECAD. Do we have anything on ECAD? I don't. Yeah, so ECAD. So again, guys, if you come back out to the daily, I just drew a top and bottom. And right now we're literally at 50% of the top and bottom of the range. So there's no trade there. I mean, let's just wait for it to get on the extremes, and then we can do something. EJ, as you guys know, I took an EJ trade, and I doubled down on it. I did get in some drawdown, and it did not hit my stop loss, thankfully. It's not far away. As a matter of fact, maybe I should, I hate moving my stop losses, so that might not be the best idea, but really the stop loss still needs to be right there. And when I looked at the 4 hour, it gave me more confidence, but it's not giving me confidence now. So I saw that 4 hour doji, and I was like, okay, that's not so bad. And then a few minutes ago, this 4 hour candle was rejecting. So we'll just have to leave it there for now. Let's go back to EJ. Where's my... So, yeah, my stop loss is above these wicks. I mean, technically, it should be where I have it here, and it's not. But on my broker, it's not the worst thing in the world because it's rejecting and it still has some room. So, if the second entry hits stop loss, it is what it is. I'm protected in some profit in the first entry, so it'll probably be overall loss, but not like super terrible. What's EU doing? Okay, so I'm EJ, UCAD. We'll get to UCAD in a second. So I'm not in anything with EU. On the daily on the EU, I think we have the sell zone marked up and it's still there. It's just respecting this trend line. So perhaps it's buying it back up. Again, I'm not really interested in that right now. GJ, we were waiting. I marked this up a while ago. We were waiting for GJ to break structure, and it still hasn't done it. So once GJ breaks this structure, we can measure a pullback, and then we can try to sell. But right now, it's just continuing on its upward trajectory, and there's really no entry. We have to wait for this to come down for us to give us entry, and right now it's just pumping, so there's really no entry. GU, on the other hand, I did put a limit in on GU. Is it a limit or an order? I put a limit in on GU. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing on GU on the daily, right? Let's come back out to the weekly just so we get a glimpse. So on the weekly, down, we're pressing up, and we're, again, we've had this, I wouldn't call it break of structure because we had a wick, we had this bottom, and then we sold off. We broke this bottom, and we broke the trend line. So that's the weekly. We come to the daily. As you'll see, we do the fib from here, from this top to this bottom. Let me dial that in a little better. Top to bottom, and look at the 61.8. The the market is respecting the 61.8, which is this box that I drew right here. All right. And it's also this area of these wicks, this previous resistance. It has supported, it has found it as resistance again. Now look, the market then broke down below here and took out all of these wicks, in my opinion, breaking that internal support. So we have a high, a low, a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So what is this? This is now, in my opinion, the lower high. So what I would like to see, if we come in a little bit closer, is I fib that last move, which is aggressive 2 bull bars that completely engulfed all this junk over here. You know, this was the liquidity, and it took it out. It came back up, and so what I did then is I fibbed from the top of that move, which is there, to the bottom of that move, which is there. And then my sell zone is going to be right in here. All right, so let me delete the arrow. So I want to sell in this little zone right there, the 7888.6. And I see that the market is now pushing up. Okay, but what did it leave? Not only is that my sell zone, but look at these, look at all these wicks. Look at all this liquidity that left right in that area. So let's see if we can't just get a push above, clear all this stuff out, and then get into this zone right here, which is the 61.8 on the big time frame, which is also our sell zone here, and then break for a new low. Right, the 236 extension is at 382, so we're getting some confluences there. These fibs are lining up pretty nice. So there's where my sell limit is probably sitting right there, if I had to guess. Let me check, and it's right on the 78.6. So I put my sell limit right on the 78.6. All right, so we come. If we zoom back out, our TP1 would be these double bottoms here, but really we'd like to run that TP a bit lower, and we let this thing run at least until like this area here, which is a 50% on the bigger time frame. And yeah, see, there's a 236 in there somewhere too. So let's let that thing run. Oh, the 236 again. We also do like to take profit on the 236 if we're in a sell fib. That's the 236, which is lining up with the 50%. So let's take that as profit. TP1 there, TP2 there, and then we leave the micro runner. UCAD. I'm in a UCAD trade, as you can see here. We do have an order block. I fibbed that last strong move down top to bottom. We have our entry area, the 7888.6 area, what had found as resistance before. It's tickering up 3 daily closures below that area, so I'm willing to take that risk that it stalls. And you can see too, I drew like the parabolica of the curve. It's getting smaller. This aggressive move popped off down. These little push-ups are getting smaller and smaller, so I'm hoping that this is the sell-off opportunity. We go to the 4-hour and we are overbought, right? And we're losing strength, so hopefully this is going to start to tank off now. Again, TP1 would be your 38.2, which is the bottom of these wicks. TP2 would be the 236, and then we let the runner go, and hopefully this continuation of a trend. So I do have a trade in now for that, and we see this sell off, pull back, and sell off. Let's just, I'm out of curiosity, where's this at? So we're right here at the 61.8. So, I mean, it makes sense because the 50 and the 60, you know, everyone knows 61.8 is like the magical fib number, the strongest of all the fibs, and it's right there below that. So, I mean, maybe you could even say, well, this is the move right there, right? And then it's rejecting the 61.8. So we're good to go. We got multiple fibs lining up, and I just think it's time. I could be wrong, but I'm willing to take that trade. UCHEF, I did not pull a trigger on UCHEF. Swiss franc, I do see this. If I was going to, and I haven't done it yet, if I was going to, I'd obviously be selling here. We have the second leg extension, which is my favorite. So we have the first leg. This is the second leg right there. Okay, so then what I did is I fibbed that leg top to bottom, or bottom to top, excuse me, bottom to top, and where the extension lies, 61.8 is right in our sell zone. And if we look on a higher time frame, obviously this is a bullish trend, or excuse me, a bearish trend, right? It's a bearish trend, so we should be looking for sells. We come into the daily on that last big move from top to bottom. It's just giving us a retrace, and it's giving us an Elliott wave. 1, 2. So the entry on here should be right here in this area. If you really wanted to pinpoint, it'd be that area. We also have these tops, so perhaps it wants to double top right there, target that area, then we could sell here. I'm not in the trade yet. I haven't put a limit in yet. We do have some days to get there, so we can be a little more patient on that one, and let's just wait and see how it goes. Again, I'm going to day trade all these. I'm going to swing position all these. I'm not looking to micromanage these trades. UJ, man, UJ would have been a perfect entry, but I wasn't paying attention. And yeah, there's our box perfectly, as you can see, and now it's popping off. Expecting this to set a new high. Right? No man's land. Expecting to set a new high, so there's no trade there. I don't even look at AU. I don't even care about AU. So those are the ones I have. So I have a GU limit. I'm in CAD-J. Wait, am I in CAD-J? No, I have a limit on CAD-J. CAD-J. So then I have a limit up in here. Again, we just discussed that. Quick review. Limit on CAD-J right in here. All right, let me come down to the 4 hour. Yeah, the limit on CAD-J is right at the 786. So right in that area. And then UCAD, I'm in UCAD, I'm in EJ, and I haven't taken any. So there's EJ, ECAD I'm in, limits on CAD-J, and limit on GU. So that's what I got going on those. Purple. Hey guys, if you find any of this information useful, or if I said something you didn't know before, please like and please subscribe. No fan noise, all good. Thank you, Wayne. My good man. What up, Juan? Yeah. So my computer sometimes when I do this live, it gets like hot, I guess. And then I have like an ultra wide screen, and sometimes it just cuts off, and I can like unplug it, plug back that up. So I thought if I put this other fan up here, that maybe it'll help keep it cool. We're in the testing phase, the beta phase, if you guys will. Okay, so let's look at NASDAQ. Again, I don't see any trade in NASDAQ. There's no news today, and it's so high that there's no reason to sell it. Dirty 30, we were looking. Okay, guys, remember how we said we wanted to see this trend line get retested? Okay, so here it is. There's the retest of the trend line we're waiting for. Okay, so now let's see if we can get this pullback and get into our sell zone, which is up in here, and then catch a sell on this. That's really the only play that I see on indices. This is also be like inverted head and shoulders, right? You have, let's see if we can draw it out here. Okay, shoulder, head, the other shoulder, right? Neckline, and go. So I'm not sure if it's going to want to turn around here or give us into our fib zone, but that's kind of the idea of the head and shoulder. Obviously not the prettiest. We are in the 1 hour. If we come out to the maybe, I mean, yeah, because the shoulder is way down here on the 4 hour. So let's just watch it on the 1 hour. There could be a potential trade. I know we still have another hour before technically the market opens. So if we get a pullback in the next hour, maybe even hour after market open, early morning, if it pulls back in the early morning hours, I'll be willing to take that. If it doesn't and it wants to screw around, if it comes into the afternoon session, I'm over it. I'm done. It's not there today. I'll catch the buy later on. And then NASDAQ again. Goldie, man, I'd love to sell it right now. It's just there's just no confirmations. I just don't want to sell a super bullish market like that. I mean, if anything, you could try to buy it if it comes down to like right here. You got the kissing candle in 1 hour. You could try to do the breakout. You could fib this whole thing. I mean, there's just so many options to buy. I just don't see the sell yet on gold. I would love to sell it. Good God, I'd love to sell that right now, but I'm trying to be patient. I don't want to go against that much momentum. But if you did, that's like the fucking Michael Jordan 3-point shot of ever. If you fucking took that trade and just sank from here. But again, You could be instead of being a hero, you could be a zero real fast, trying to short something like that. I would rather wait into my zone up here. I also see this gigantic wick. I mean, look at that wick, right? So it just seems to me like I don't know what to think about that wick. I think that it just seems to me like there needs some of this ground needs to get taken up. There's just no way that's just gonna stay there, right? So if this is the top, let's break through this top, break through whatever liquidity is sitting here, and let's get into this wick and fill some of this wick out before it turns around. So there's another reason why I'm not too gung-ho on selling right now. All right, and just to cover the liquidity thing from last week, I mean, we sit here and we knew that there was liquidity sitting here, so we knew this target was going to get taken out, and it did. So now we know, okay, that happened. This is a double top. Perhaps this can be the sell, but we need to be a little more patient. We should wait for like a little down, up, and then go. Let's make sure there's some selling pressure in this area before we start taking these sells. So this is the the patience game. We get paid to be patient. So that's what I would rather do. Let's see if there's some selling pressure, and then we could fib the pullback and then take it, and we could reduce our risk using the proper stop losses. But where is the target on the bottom side, right? Well, if this is the trend line, and we know that this trend line breaks, all of this is going to get taken out. But really what I'd like to see is double bottoms, double tops. So this isn't the cleanest double bottom in the world, but I mean, that is, from 1985 to 1970, it's 150 pip range that it wouldn't be nice to see this come down and take that out. Maybe set this double bottom. But also too, like, I think that's all the way down at 1930. I mean, we think the gold's really going to go from 1985 to 1930. I mean, that's 2085 to what I say, 1930. It just that seems crazy, especially with the world and the war and BRICS and everything else. So I just don't expect that. I do expect this thing to keep being bullish. So we could perhaps find a medium, like a little, I don't want to say scalp, but like a sell here to come back down, and then really start to buy back up, 2050 area, somewhere around there. So right now we're just being patient on Goldie. We maybe have an opportunity on 30, and it looks like it's starting to reject this trend line. So that's really the play for today. Does anybody have any questions on? So I see Juan and Wayne here, but we have a total of 18. Anybody else in here, please throw your name in the chat. Hey, please help me by subscribing to the channel. We're trying to build this channel, so if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Please comment if you have any questions. I'll try to do my best to answer those. And if you learned anything today, if this is somewhat helpful, please subscribe. Please give me a like. I'm trying to build a channel. I mean, we're doing zones, we're doing Elliott waves, we're doing Fibonacci retracements. I mean, we've got a lot of different sauce going here. So if there's something that you picked up you didn't really think about before, please do me a solid and give me a subscribe. So this weekend I was thinking about, I really need to use all the tools that I have in my tool bag. And so I'm not a trend line trader, but I'm going to start trying to do a better job of integrating trend lines into my overall analysis, as well as fair value gaps. Like, I know all these things. I know all these technical terms. I know how to use them all. And perhaps I need to start integrating all of them into an analysis to help with the confluences, right? So not only fair value gaps, but zones, things of this nature. Support, resistance, supply, demand, whatever you want to say. And for me, a fair value gap, if you're new to this, fair value gap would be from there to there. But also, I looked at the last time, let's say from here to here, right? If we're looking at this chart and this buy candle is here and then it's sold off, the next time you have another buy candle is there. Now, some people would say, well, the fair value gap was really from there to there, the bottom of that candle to the top of that candle, and I would agree with that too, right? But we just need to get better at identifying some of these zones to help us understand. Really, we need to understand where liquidity is, where the target of the market is, so that way when the market hits target, then we can really start to find turnaround. So the number one thing in the strategy is to figure out where the target needs to go to hit liquidity. Then we build our confluences around that zone to see if we can find a turnaround at that zone. So the number one thing is, where's liquidity? use the fibs and trend lines, and use these things as confluences in that zone to catch the market going in the other direction. So, and this is kind of a good example here. We have an order block down at the bottom. We have our fib zone, and then since this is pushed up, this has left all of these candles, and this big candle here is liquidity. So the target is that area. All right, and the same thing you could say of the target on the top side. Well, we have this nice wick here. Right? We have this nice wick here. We have these two nice wicks. So eventually we'd like to see the market come back out and take all this stuff out. But in the meantime, our internal goal, our smaller goal, is these wicks. So then, what do we want to see get taken out? Where is liquidity? Well, the main liquidity is down here where this big wick is. So if we can target the market, can come down, take out this wick, then we can go right below this area and look for support and resistance. That's where the orange line is. We see the order block. We see fibs. You know, maybe it comes down this far, maybe it doesn't. So we need to be able to identify all the things we can see. I know that a lot of people can only identify what they see, which is obviously inherently true. You can't identify things you can't see, but we need to keep our brains open to the possibilities of multiple things happening. Not only a buy down from here, but a buy up. You know, not only support here, but maybe support here. So we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves too much into our bias. We want to be able to keep an open mind and flow with it and react to what it's giving to us, as opposed to being rock hard, rock steady. And this is exactly what we're doing. This is exactly my plan. Like, you should be able to modify your plan on the go. Having said that, this is the support resistance zone. So perhaps, you know, I'd love to buy at the 886, but perhaps we take a trade a little early. You know, I don't know yet. We'll see. There's my psychology spill for the day. So nothing going on the Dirty 30 right now. 8 people. Thanks all 8 people for joining in. Oh, why did it pop up on that screen? I don't understand why it does this sometimes. Like if I click it there, but if I click it here, yeah, I don't understand why it does that. And as you can tell, my broker's all jacked up. Why is this? All those red lines and shit everywhere. I don't know. Maybe if I change time frames. Okay, that fixed it. Alright. There we go. Okay, guys, so the GU hasn't hit. The CAD-J has not hit. The UCAD is basically at break even right now. EJ, it looks like to me like EJ is starting to reject, which is what I want to see, because I'm in 2 positions on EJ. EJ right there. And I'm looking at the 4-hour candle, and hopefully this wick then is the one that's rejecting. We had a doji candle right before it, and we're hoping this wick now rejects here. Not wick, but candle. We're hoping that candle rejects. We are at break even, and my stop losses are just above basically where this is at here. My stop losses are right in this area there. I do realize that this has obviously been bullish, as you can tell, but I was hoping that this was the break and go. And so we played that fib on the first entry, so we caught an entry up here, and then yeah. How did we even catch that first entry? That first entry was something. I mean, that first entry was something special. That first entry is right there on that wick. That was the sniperest of sniper entries. So, I'm at odds. You know, like when I think about this, like, yeah, I'm in profit. Should I just move that sniper entry to break even? Because right now it's break even in profit, right? So I'll make a little bit if it hits. That's such a sniper entry. You don't want to let it go to waste. So maybe I should just move my stop loss. But this is what you don't want to do, start second guessing yourself. So on the 1 hour, we did have a good bull candle. It didn't engulf, but I mean that's a nice bull candle down. So like this bull candle. 3 retrace, 3 retrace it, and then back down. But again, it didn't set the new low. But it, you know, now we're talking about liquidity and getting our brains in that mode. Look at this. Look at these wicks, all this area right here. Look at all that liquidity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, however many wicks that is. So I mean, we should at least, if it's going to push up and give us a new high, we should at least be able to come down and take that out. And look at this wick here, right? So this market should at least come through and smash all this, and then find this down here as support. So at least we should get as a 236 out of this. So, all right, guys, that's what we got for now. I'm going to leave this on 30-30. Give me a minute. I'm gonna go get a drink of water. We have, I can hear my baby in the background, so I'm gonna go say hi to the wifey. But 1, 2, 3 up, turn around at this point, selling off. I mean, all that makes sense. You know, perhaps this just goes all the way to the bottom. If it does, we'll look for a buy. I wouldn't mind seeing this, guys. This is what we're waiting for. This trend line to reject, get into here, and then we can sell off. We have the Elliott wave has been complete. 1, 2, 3, and it's at the bottom of this support resistance area, and it's the 236, right? It's right here at the 236. So let's see if we can find a retracement and then take this short. Give me a second. I'm gonna get some water and go say hi to the babe, and then I'll be back in just a few. Okay, guys. Let's check back on the OBS real quick. Oh, we still have 9 people here. Hey, guys, thanks real quick. I just went to grab a drink of water and say good morning to my daughter real fast. What we're doing is basically we're waiting for this US30 to do 2 things. We're hoping it rejects this trend line, gives us a fib pullback, and then we break and we take that sell. If it just breaks from here, then we can still wait for a pullback, but it possible that it comes all the way down to our buy zone, in which case we'll buy from there. So we're hoping we are hoping we catch an internal sell. NASDAQ is basically doing jack and squat, nothing. Goldie, there's the reason why we didn't sell on gold, right? There's the reason. If anything on gold, we should wait for the 3 touch like we're always talking about, right? Let's wait for this thing. There's the 1. I don't really like that 2, but that's technically a 2 and a 3. We can wait for the 3-hour touch and wait for that to be divergent. So if we get a new high here and it stays below this, little thing here, that perhaps we could take a scalp sell. We'll have to check that out when it gets there. But as for now, we're going to be patient. We don't really want to go against all this momentum. It's going to take some time to slow down. So 30 is now selling off. So if 30 sells off, you would think traditionally the gold would buy up, right? So yeah. And again, we continue to adjust this fib as this goes down. So now our entry would be, dropping as well. You do see this entire area here. I don't really like to consider that one liquidity because that's just pre-market open on a Sunday night in the Asian session of consolidation. So that's really nothing if you ask me. So yeah, we're waiting for this, and perhaps this trend line needs to be tightened up a bit. Perhaps it needs to be. I always do this too. I always want to catch as many wicks as possible, and then I always look later on. It's always the lowest one. So that's really the trend line there. Catch myself doing that a lot. Thanks, Chris, for joining in. Good morning, buddy. We've got 9 people here. We had a total of 22. I'm just making some coffee right now and saying hi to my daughter. She just woke up. So look at Goldie. Good thing we didn't sell. Patience plays. All right, give me a second. I'll be back in a little bit, guys. I'll get my coffee. Okay. Get the charger out of the way. We got so many fucking computers and chargers here. Okay, guys, I am back. Got some nice hot coffee. I've been drinking water all morning. I woke up at 5:30, so I've been drinking water for an hour and a half, and now kicking in with the coffee. So I read somewhere, randomly, that if you wait to drink coffee until after you've been up for like 45 minutes, that has a much greater effect. It allows like your brain neurons to make the connections, and then you fucking hit it with coffee and caffeine, and then you're really flying. So I try not to drink coffee right off the bat, and I really only have like 1 cup a day, 7 ounces anyways, so my tolerance isn't that high. I drink a cup of this and you're like, fuck. Okay, NASDAQ, again, we'll just check. It's not doing shit. I don't care about NASDAQ today. And I don't care too much about Goldie because it's just pumping. But again, now hold up. All right, guys. 1, 2, 3. We are divergent. Maybe we can try to get fucking cute today and take a gold sell here in a few seconds. Let's delete all these lines so we can see what's up. Gold trade is highly suspect because we don't have much to go off of, except for the RSI, except for the double top. Let's delete this. We really don't have any sort of like upper trend lines. You know what? Let's do this. Since I just said the magic TL word, I know there's people out here that we trade with that are fucking trendline fanatics, right? So is there any sort of trend line like that that perhaps is going to give us an indication of where this bad boy is going to turn around? So trend line from there. Now, do we have any others? Right, I don't really like that one. Do we have any others? There. Because I can just visually see that all these other ones that people would normally try to use. Well, look at that. Look at that. So we can delete this one for now because we don't care about that. We can delete this. Okay. So look at this. All right. Also, if you're really skilled in the art of the Fibonacci's, you can do Fibo from there to there. Right? I don't suggest this. As a matter of fact, let me just delete some of this other shit so it's out of our way. We can leave that fib zone, and we'll delete that Fibonacci for now. Okay, so we've got some trend lines converging in this area, and we can play around with this fib. Because maybe it's from there to there wouldn't make any sense. And from here to there, 618 has already passed. Sometimes what you can do is what I'm trying to get at, and this is something you don't hear me say very often, but it is, you know, Juan can probably attest to this in our reading, is you can take this area, this blank area that's you consider, I don't know, fair value gap, whatever that is, whatever you want to call that area, wick area, and you could fib that area, and you can find internal, like if you wick that area, you'll find a lot of times that the price will come back down into the 61.8. Now look. So this is what I'm trying to get at. On the bigger fib, we have this is 78.6, 80.6. That's our sell zone. If you fib that wick from where that candle was, the 61.8 is right here in the middle of it. Right there in the middle of it. Now, we'll just leave that there to see if in the future that line gets hit perfectly and rechecks. I don't know. We'll have to find out. But you can fib those other areas. I was doing some back studying the other day on fibs and the great crash of like 2008. What they did is they just fibbed these areas like that, and they were able to predict the turnaround. And I'm not saying that's how the fucking dude in the movie did it, Michael, whatever his name is, but you know, who knows? I do. Thanks, Mr. Blake. There, I do highly. That's the really only indicator I use is the RSI. I have this moving average on here, but honestly, let's just take that off there because I don't use them. I do use the RSI quite a bit. So my strategy is this, and I'll break it down to you pretty quickly here. Look at the market overall and find where liquidity is. Okay, liquidity needs to get taken out. Right. So if we find an area where liquidity gets taken out, then we need to find the zone above or below that area to find the turnaround. So in this situation, we'll just do this kind of quickly, is if this is liquidity here, right here in this area, we need to find an area right below it to buy, to take out that liquidity. Okay, so knowing that, let's just delete all this stuff now. Good question. That gives us something to talk about. So what we did was we fibbed from this bottom to that top because that's the newest top. All right. And that gave us our 78, 88.6, which was our buy zone. When it gets down into this zone, we start looking for buys. Doesn't mean we automatically take one, but it's where we start looking for buys. Okay. We compare that. Now look at the RSI is overbought, is oversold. So we have three different confluences right there off the bat. A, liquidity has been taken out on the bottom side. We have a target on top. We have the we have the sell zone, and we have the RSI being oversold. So we start to stack these, and if you look right here, now we also have divergence. We have price is getting lower. I like to see 3 touch. This is actually a 4 touch, and the price, the RSI is getting higher. So you real quickly start to stack your confirmations. I like 5, 6, 7 if I can get them. And if you'll see, I'll explain. This is the RSI divergence: 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch. It's getting lower. I normally like to see 3. This gave us 4. And at the same time, the RSI is getting higher. 1, 2, 3, bing, 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 all the way up. That last touch hits the purple line, the line right there. It's just usually where I see the 3 touch hit, and that's entry all day long. You now have RSI divergence. You have the bigger picture: overbought, oversold. In this case, oversold. You have your fib zone. You have everything lines up, and you take your entry. So I highly suggest using the RSI, looking for divergence and looking for when the price is overbought and oversold, at least on the higher time frames. So it's just like the extra sauce, right? It's the cream on top of the cake, whatever you want to call it, the icing on the cake. That gives you the extra confidence to know that this could possibly be turning around. And so now here's the same thing: 1, 2, 3 touch. The 3rd touch is at the very top of the 70%, and now we do have diversion. We also have this top of this trend line. Perhaps if you guys wanted to take a trade, there might be a trade there. I just don't know where your stop loss would be. So I mean, a lot of people would use 50 pips, and if we did a sell now and we did 50 pips, that's 2091. So 2096 would be your stop loss, and that's right there. Hey, your mom's here. All right. And so your immediate target then would be this bottom, but really look at this fair value gap. I mean, your target would be down here somewhere, or even this kissing candle right there. Me personally, I'd probably want to target that. So what we need to do then, Jesus, hey, shut up, scared the shit out of me. 1, 2, 3. Like, I'm not super excited about this divergence. I mean, yes, that is divergent, right? This is higher, that is lower, this is divergent. I just, with that momentum, I think we should just need to be a little more patient. Honestly, that's what I'm going to be patient. If you want to be risky, by all means, pop that entry right now. But I would like to see this break, and then we can measure a pullback, and then we can go. Right? I want to see this break structure first. And so therefore, these lows here need a break. And at least that way, I then have a fib to work off of, and I know where my stop loss is. Right now, you're just entering in no man's land, hoping to hit a fucking half-court 3-pointer at the end of the game. Good luck. Good luck. And also, too, that's the same thinking as the reason why I didn't take this trade on the double top. Right? So if we delete all this BS over here, if we had drawn just a straight horizontal line at the top of this, and we can even use our magnifying magnet right there, that's where that red line is. Well, guess what? It just broke your double top. Okay? So, yeah. That's why I did not play the double top. So then if we pull a fib, again, I don't use fibs this way. You could use this fib from here to that bottom. That's not the way I draw fibs. I don't think that's correct. You would do that, you would see your 10% is right there. And so technically you would be in drawdown and you would not have to hit stop loss, but that's just not the way I do things. So I'm not going to break the way I do things to try to find and get super creative. I don't need to get super creative. I'm just going to keep using the potion that's been working for me. You know, modify. I mean, I'm not unable to modify, but I don't want to get that fucking creative. So we are in the double trend line turnaround zone. We are way overbought on the 8-hour. It's giving me confluence, giving me confidence that it's going to turn around. We are getting divergent now. So again, yeah, no problem, Mr. Bleak. Marquin. Sorry, I'm not the best when it comes to names. I skipped my Hooked on Phonics class when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I wonder if they still do that. Still do that Hooked on Phonics. That was like the shit when I was in like elementary school, making all these weird sounds. I don't know. What else we got going on? Let's just double check. So I'm just looking at the EJ on the broker, and it's still ticking up, but it hasn't broke that last high. UCAD, I'm in a sell, and we're in profit, and it's rejecting, which is good to go. We're not quite in the CAD-J yet, and we are obviously not in the GU yet. So those are okay. So we'll just double check those real quick. What else was it we're looking? Let's just look at crypto too, since we're just killing time waiting for 30 and gold to do something. Let's just look at 30. Is it rejecting? It's screwing around. Market's not open yet. We still have 20 minutes. Okay. Crypto. Everyone knows that Bitcoin is going to have in the next month and a half, 2 months. Okay. So if we come to the daily. Okay. Crypto. If you ask me, I don't know why. It's just this is my sell zone. Like maybe I can draw the sell zone a little bit cleaner from there to there. But it just seems to me like Bitcoin has been on this hell of a run. All the way from 16,000 up to here, retrace. But I mean, if you want to talk about fair value gaps, I mean, look at the bottom of this area and get rid of this stupid magnifying glass or magnet. Look at that gap there. And then we have another one that's pretty strong. You know, it's consolidated, but I mean, we have another one from here at least, from there to there. So it just looks to me like Bitcoin needs to sell off a little bit. So perhaps a lot of these people are going to take some profit. I can't imagine why they would be. I sold a little bit, but I needed, I had to pay some taxes on some other stuff. So it just needs to come down. It just seems to me like it needs to come down and then give us the push before halving. But to be honest, I don't think it's going to do it. I think it's the market's too strong. And the same thing, I sold some Ethereum the other day at right here, basically 31.70. It's at 34. I mean, it's gone up $300 since then. And that's just like a couple days ago. Again, look at the fair value gap. There's no retracement. There has been no retracement at all on this push. So what I'd like to see is this thing to top out, start rejecting, so that I can buy back in where the bottom of this arrow is. Yeah, $2,500. Buy back in, sold up here, buy back in, keep going. And again, what I really like is the way that this Solana, I really like how this Solana broke this trend right here and then went off, right? Because I own Solana and I have NFTs, so my NFTs are getting more expensive. At the same time, I have a lot of Cardano, and I'm hoping that this does the same thing. Right? Look at it go. If we zoom way out on Cardano, on the daily, right? Low. It broke, retested, and gone. I love that because it's the same thing Solana did. Low, broke, and really didn't even retest. It just went. And the same thing on DOT. Sorry, give me 1 second. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Stop screaming at me. Come in here. Okay. And the wife's closing at me is when you close the door and put your sound, your fucking noise canceling headphones back on. Okay. So yeah, anyways, what I was saying was DOT. Let me look at DOT, how it gone low, breaking trend, and now it broke another high. So I'm super excited about our Cardano and DOT because I own both of those. I truly, I like to own cryptos that I believe in. So I'm not getting in a lot of those shit coins. I don't care about Shiba and all this other stuff, or Manta, all this other shit that are whatever. I don't have time to mess with those. I do like DOT. I do like DOT because it's the level 0 coin, right? I do like the concept behind Cardano and the way it pays out its dividends and whatnot. And so yeah, I'm in those. And I have Solana because Solana's all over the NFTs, and I own NFTs and I own Solana. I mean, I have XRP and XLM, and I have these other ones too, but these are the ones that I really care about. Also, I think Baker Hughes stock. If you're a stock person, I think Baker Hughes stock is primed to buy right now. Again, this is just advice, not advice, but training. But dude, if you look at Baker Hughes, down, down, down. Baker Hughes has had a high. Oil is not getting any cheaper. So we have previous highs. I mean, it has 60 something dollars a share before. And if you look at this bull trend that it's on, it's come down. It's damn near to the trend line. You fib from this previous bottom up. It gave us a nice Elliott wave down. I mean, it really, one, two. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Right into our buy zone, right? And now that it's in our buy zone, I mean, this is the strategy played out. Fib, right? Here's the consolidation order block where the liquidity is. It broke through the bottom of that, cleared out any of these people. It has a gap right here. It came to our buy zone, and now it's showing strength. It's breaking these highs. And so it's like, dude, I have friends that own this stock, and I'm like, maybe you should buy some more of it. And then when it gets up here at $38, $40, maybe sell, and we'll look for another pullback, but whatever. That is how you want the market to flow. That is a healthy market flow. Pop off, give us a retracement, find support after it's cleared out some liquidity, closed on this gap, and let's see if we can buy it back up. So what I'm looking for with Forex pairs. That looks perfect. Let's look at 30 real quick. Let me get back on the OBS to see if there's any comments. No comments. Guys, drop your names in here so I can see who's in here. Right now, I know we got Wayne and Juan and Chris and Mr. Blake, Marquin. But guys, if you're in here, fucking, and if I say anything, you're like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good point, or hey, you know, this isn't so bad. Please give me a like and a share, man. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to build the channel. As you've heard me say before, I don't have signals. I don't have a paid Telegram. I'm not selling some course, right? I'm just out here doing my thing and doing it live. And so hopefully people can resonate or pick up something and add the way that I look at things to your arsenal, and you guys become better. I'm not saying my strategy is the best, but if you take one little nugget away from what I say, add those to your strategy, then hopefully you guys become better. And I also feel that by talking about these things and looking at these trades and me doing what I'm doing is probably going to make me a better trader because I'm not so hasty. I'm actually talking and doing the things, right? And look at this. This is why we didn't sell. It's a perfect example. I did not sell gold here because how could I justify taking it, you know, that shot when none of my confluences are there? So I didn't take it, right? And sometimes the best move is the ones we don't take. And so that's that. Give me a drink of this coffee, and I'll expand on that. I was listening to something the other day, and I don't remember what it was. It was a podcast, but it was telling me, write down your best decision, like in the last month or last week, whatever. What was your best decision? And so as traders, everyone would write down their winning trade, like, oh man, I caught a sniper entry, da 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 da. But very few people, if none, would have wrote down, I did not take this entry. And if I would have taken it, I would have taken a loss, right? Our brains aren't really designed to work that way. So perhaps, and this goes deeper into the psychology of looking for things and opening your brain up for things that you might not normally be aware of, right? Trying to see as much as possible. So if I say, what's your best decision last week, and you only give me a winning trade, and 99% of the people only give me winning trades, your brain hasn't even been open to the concept. Your best decision is probably the trade you didn't take, right? And so therefore it makes you realize, like, holy shit, like, that's a good point. Maybe I should start thinking on both sides of the spectrum. And in this situation, buy and sell, or don't buy, don't sell, right? You get the idea. And then I was listening to Tony Robbins the other day. Tony Robbins asked, I think it was on Theo Vaughn, to be honest with you, because I think Theo Vaughn's pretty funny. I listen to him sometimes. He looked at Theo Vaughn and said, look around the room and give yourself 15, 20 seconds and look at all the things that are in the room that are brown. So Theo Vaughn looks around the room. He says, okay, that's brown, that's brown. He's mental notes. And then Tony Robbins says, look at me. And he goes, okay, now how many things did you see were red?
And Theo Vaughn's like, none. I was looking for brown. He's like, exactly. You didn't even consider. You weren't looking for red. You didn't see any things that are red, and so that kind of makes me think about the charts. If I'm looking for sells, if I'm looking for this, maybe there's so much going on that I wasn't even thinking about. So at the beginning of this live, I was saying that I need to start incorporating all the tools that are in my toolbox, which are trend lines, which are gaps, which are Elliott waves, which are white calls. I mean, I understand all that shit. I understand basically every technical analysis you could find. I understand how to use them. I understand them all. From my perspective, maybe there's a gain fan or some other shit out there that, some sort of harmonics that I haven't learned yet, but that's okay. The point being is we should be looking for everything, or trying to look for every possible situation, and that those two things made me realize that. What was the best decision you made? And just being able, that didn't even dawn on me to think that, it was the trade that I didn't take, and maybe there's some red items in the room when you're really looking for brown items. So, those things are mental nuggets. And so for the guys who were trading with, who were in our little group on the 30-day little group that I had set up on Discord, this is the reading, and this is the reason why we're trying to do these things, is to expand on some of that type of knowledge and that type of thinking. I know you guys are in here, so here we go. Here's the top of the trend line, and technically we are still divergent, even though it broke this high. And when it comes to divergence, and if you're new to the RSIs, I don't look at all of this back here. Like all of these back here, I could care less about that one. We're just looking at the newer ones. All right. So this is the area that we're looking at. That's the only area of the RSI we need to be concentrating on. I don't care about the rest of them. Okay. So now we have a high. This technically did not even break that. No wonder why it's lower. That makes sense. But now we have a higher high, and we have less strength on the RSI. So what I'm going to do is just draw a little horizontal line at the top of that RSI so I can get a visualization of how close are we to hitting it. And really, I mean, I think, this could be an opportunity to take a sell, to be honest with you. Mark is pushing pre-market. NASDAQ is tanking. Again, we're actually not NAS, but 30. Again, we're waiting for this 30 to give us a pullback so we could short it. And it just hasn't pulled back. It just keeps going, which is okay. If it breaks this trend line, again, I'm not entering. I know some people are trend line people, and they're going to enter now. There's no way in hell I'm entering now with a stop loss like that. It's just not going to happen. What I would rather do is wait for this bad boy to give us a retracement, and then enter up here somewhere after it takes out this stuff. So I'm much more interested in a stop loss that looks like this. All right, I'm willing to shoot that bullet. 7 people. I see Chris and Juan, Wayne. Mr. Blake, thanks you guys for stopping by and hanging out. We're trying to see if we can find a gold entry. And let's just, what? Why don't we just scalp gold? Since the entry is coming, we think the entry is coming. Let's scalp it. Let me delete this big ass purple box. All right, guys, we're gonna try to scalp gold. Again, on gold, now we also see the divergence starting to set up. 1, 2. So we're gonna wait for at least the third divergence on the scalp. Okay, so we have 1, 2. We're going to wait for the third, and we might take an entry on the third, or if it breaks character, if it breaks structure, then we'll take that one right there. So either two things. We can short and look for shorts on the third tip of the divergent, or we can be more patient, wait for it to break structure, and we'll take it on the pullback. We're going to see what's going to happen, though, because the market opens at 5 minutes. And we'll see what Goldie does for us, and we'll also check on 30. We're going to look at 30 on the 30-minute. And see if we can find a pullback. If we can get a pullback on 30, maybe even to this area, the 61.8, then we could take that trade. Again, our target would then be the bottom I would say at least this. So I mean, that's not a very good trade. It's a 2 to 1, but we would leave that runner going. We'll check on that. I don't think NAS is going to give us anything. I'm not worried about NASDAQ. And as you can see, gold is pumping, but I think it's running out of juice. It should be running out of juice. So there's our second touch. We got 4 minutes. This is why they say trading so boring. People like trading so exciting. Well, it can be. If it's exciting, you're probably risking too much. Let's look at the CAD JPY. Again, we're waiting for a pullback on this CAD J. All right, waiting for a pullback on CAD J. We have an alert set right here, so that's good to go. The DXY, we haven't looked at the DXY yet. The DXY is really in the middle of no man's land. We have one push up, two, the third push up, and then this is the internal structure here that it broke. So I really think that the DXY is going to start to sell. And because if we reset this chart, you'll see that we have this the standard deviation zone. I believe I have it set to 1.5 or 2. So I have it set to 2 deviations, 2 standards. So we're right in the middle, but it's come up, it's tapped, and then it's also broke the trend line. All right, on the sell side, it's broke that trend line, and it could very well come back down here on the bottom side, just like it did right here. Basically, right? It come up, come down, and then shot back off. So it could very well do the same thing. So let's see if the DXY will sell off. The DXY sells off. You're looking for a CAD J to sell off, which we're already in a CAD J sell. We're looking for USHF to sell off. We're not quite there. We'd like to see maybe get up a little higher then sell. But again, we have the Swiss franc is on the other side, so it's not 100% dollar dependent. If the dollar could sell off, but it depends on what the Swiss franc does. UJ, again, we're looking for. I mean, UJ could set a. I don't know. I don't have much faith in the Japanese yen and its strength. If we look at the Japanese yen, the Jeep, look at this fucker, dude. You want to talk about a trend? Look at the strength of the yen. It's tanking. Why would you want to trade against that? Why would you want to trade buy the Japanese yen, thinking it's going to get stronger when it's clearly just shitting the bed? Ever since 2020, so for the last 3.5 years, it's just been. So there's no reason for me to try to buy the Japanese yen. So when it comes to UJ, I mean, look at it. It's self-evident. Look at how it's just going up. Now the UJ obviously goes back. This is 1980, right? Obviously it goes back way further. But if we look here in the last, couple of years, look at that big ass bull trend. Post-COVID, when's COVID? Yeah, 2020. Post-COVID, just yen's shitting the bed. Because if I'm not mistaken, maybe you guys could put in the chats, but isn't the Japanese central bank still at like a 0 interest rate or like a negative interest rate? Something crazy where they're literally just giving money away and devaluing their currency like crazy, and therefore you see it. I'll have to brush up on my Japanese yen trading, news. But here goes. So here's market open in 1 minute. Let's look for this pullback and see if we can't find a short on US30. I wouldn't really say that this is breaking trend, because it just barely broke. It came back above it, so perhaps it's finding a support, which I'm also cool with. If it finds it as support, it's just going to push back up here to this consolidation zone and then let us sell off. What is gold doing? So we'll have to check gold on a smaller time frame and see if we can scalp a gold entry. But we can also look like this and find these buy fibs and see if we can't find a turnaround. So there's our first target on a turnaround, is right there at 21. Fuck, if that's not a psychological level, I don't know what is. 2100 flat. Right? That's crazy. Right on the psych level. You could technically say that's kind of like a smaller fib, which is also basically right in that same area, but that's really not the hell of a pullback. So 2100 psych level would be that'd be pretty cool. Psych level with the fib extension and divergent and trend line. So I mean, they're starting to stack some sort of confirmations for a sell at 2100. It's crazy how that extension lines up right on the 2100, almost perfect. What's 30 doing? All right, market open. We're getting some volatility on 30. Let's go to the 15-minute on 30 so we can check it. So that's the game plan. I mean, really, we can't. So we have to be open to several scenarios, the buys and the sells, right? We just talked about that a minute ago, but really, there's not much room for sells. How are we going to keep our game plan open for sells? We can't sell here. It's too late. It's too late in the ball game. And I wouldn't have suggested selling up here. We did have the Elliott 3 wave. I get it. I just wouldn't do that. It's just not a high probable trade. On the other hand, this is a higher probability trade, but it's also kind of sketchy because we are trading against momentum. If we do come back out to like a 1 hour, we can see that there's a previous structure to the left. So it's not like, we at least have something to go off of. It's not all-time highs. So we can start to stack that structure. So if this is our sell zone, 7888.6 right here, that's also the bottom of this resistance area, right? It's also this resistance over here. So we have a zone that we can play off of, and it's also the 236 on the bigger. So I mean, so let's start stacking confirmations, right? 78.6, there's one. We have the completion of the Elliott wave, 2. We have support resistance zone, 3. On the buy fib, we have the 236. There's 4. Right, so we've got 4 confirmations now. And if we start going to the, if we start going into the smaller time frames, perhaps when it gets up here, we'll start to see the oversold on the RSI. You could see, overbought on the RSI. I always say oversold, but you know what I mean. We'll come down into a smaller time frame, and as you can see, we're way overbought now on the 3-minute, but that's just because it's a hell of a candle. Again, I'm not a huge fan of trying to go against these. I like to see the market kind of teeter down into my area as opposed to just giving us a hell of a candle into the area. But we'll see. Because then if it gives us a hell of a candle into the area, it's going to take some time for it to fizzle out before it sells off. So Goldie is still pumping. And on the higher time frames, it's not divergent. It's just straight going. In all time frames, we have lost any sort of divergence. Let's just go back to the 1 minute. So on the 1 minute is the only one that still has any sort of divergence on it. All right, let's delete all this scribble lines. 61.8, 2100. So we're just going to be a little patient on this one. We are divergent. We have a 1, 2, 3 touch. I mean, that could be an entry. Let's take a small entry. I'm going to take a small entry on that. Yeah. There's my entry. I'm going to risk a whopping 0.5% because I don't well, there's many reasons why. But my TP is a cool probably 8%. So that's going to be a hell of a trade if this actually hits. All right, so what I'm doing then is let's reset this chart. So I entered here. I entered there. And I'm going to put my TP right there at the top of that. Right? I'm going to see if we can get this gold to come down and clear out this fair value gap. I'm not giving it a long leash. That's for sure. I'm not giving it very many pips at all, to be honest with you. Because if it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. I want to be quick wrong. So I'm in at 2096, and my stop loss is basically 2099. So I'm giving it, 40, almost like a 40 pip stop loss, which I'm cool with. Uh, one, one, two, three. So then on the same token, oh, you know what? I'm in US30 buys. How did I forget that? So I'm in US30 buys right now. Duh. And I'm up 1% on that. Good thing it did not hit stop loss. I just noticed. Let me delete this. My EJ trade is still in profit. My US30 is in profit. My UCAD is in profit. And my gold is in profit. So we are good to go. Gold is rejecting nicely. So let's just hope that it keeps going. There's no reason to protect. I'm not over leveraged, so it is what it is. But we did catch that entry right there at 2096. The way I mean, you guys saw it live. You know how we did it, right? We were waiting for the divergence on a smaller time frame, and this is actually the top of this trend line. Yeah. That candle did break the structure, so we're good. So let's just check on the US30 now, because I am in a buy. Where did I get in on this trade history? Oh, I got in way over here. I already took partials on the US30 too, so that's cool. So on US30, on my Friday trade, I'm not even paying attention. Okay. On the US30, I took buys right here at the bottom of this. And I took profit there at the double top. Yep, at the double top. And then it came down. I protected my entry, and it did not hit stop loss. Thank the Lord. But it looks like it probably will now. So how much is my... So I'm going to shave another half. We'll just let the mini run. Yeah, there we go. I cut my profit in half again on the US30. Now I just have a mini running. Look at this pullback. I was just hoping it would give us more than that. All right, we still have time. Right, we still have time to see if this will pull back again and give us a little bit deeper retracement before this comes off and sells off. But I mean, technically that is the sell zone. That is a sell zone, but it's not the one that I use. What's Goldie doing? Goldie's fucking around. Still in profit. Still in profit on gold though. It's messing around. Okay, so we're in profit on gold. We're in 30 buys. We're in basically break even on EJ because my first position is in profit. My second position is in drawdown. So we're basically break even on that. And UCAD is basically a break even too, a small profit. We have not triggered our CAD-J or our GU just yet. NASDAQ is selling off. And US30 is screwing around. So, well guys, that is our gold entry. We caught an entry there. And we saw some sellers stepping in. So hopefully that'll play out well. And I don't think we're going to get an entry on US30 because it did not come up high enough. It did not get us in our zone. So if this does sell off, I would have missed that trade. I don't know what you guys did, but I would have think they would have cleared out this whole zone right here. You would think it would have cleared that out and found resistance up here. Didn't do it. Not yet, at least. Didn't do it. So, patience. Goldie. Break even on gold. So let's come back to our entry. Which is no big deal, though. Because if you look at gold on the 1 minute. Let's reset this chart. Gold on the 1 minute. It's just fibbing out, right? Let's just delete the entry. So I'm okay with it retracing that, right? So now but it actually retraced it. Now we can get proper stop loss. So we go from there to there. We can now reduce our stop loss, and so now I'm only risking 0.5%. So the stop loss within would be right here. So for entering in, I mean, we entered a little late, right on that 61.8 actually. I entered right on the 61.8, just free balling it. Our stop loss then would be up here, and then we could TP1 if you wanted to at the 61.8, which is the 236. Actually, that's not even the 236. Move that up. So let's see if it rejects right here. So I'm in for like 1% to 1% trade. So if it hits, not a big deal. Actually, it's not a 1%. It's a 0.5% trade. Excuse me, half. This is where it needs to reject right now. This is it. This is the fib zone. Seller stepped in, right? I mean, you saw a solid push down. The buyer is just retracing, and so maybe the banks will put in their second position here. We did have divergence. We did have a trend line. So it's not a complete shot in the dark. There was some sort of strategy there. It's not my main strategy by any means, but there is a strategy. And if we want to look, I mean, the same thing plays out. This is the order block where there's liquidity, and this is the support and resistance zone. These candles here, you would like to see these candles, especially this fair value gap, all this get taken out. And if it's going to find support, find it down here. Support turn to resistance. And it did just take me out? No, it did not. It was super close. Oh, there it goes. All right, so now we hit stop loss. Okay, so there's a 0.5% gone. It is what it is. But this is the risk we run when we were trading against a market that looks like this. I mean, look at those fucking candles, man. Look at those candles. And this is why we try to scalp an entry and have a super small stop loss. But I mean, look, it's pretty ridiculous that we're trying to trade against this. Now that I think about it again. All right. Why are we fucking around? Let's just wait. So now that was our one fuck around, a 0.5%, no big deal. We'll wait. I mean, look how strong the market is. It's crazy. What's 30 doing then? Our only other trade then is in 30. And 30's buying. 30's coming back up. What's NASDAQ doing? Again, I don't really care about what NASDAQ's doing. I'm not taking that trade. At least we have some structure on 30. So we'll wait. Perhaps this will build up for gold in the next couple of days. You know, Wednesday, Thursday is usually the Wednesday, the turnaround day. We have news coming out later, so this thing is just going to keep pushing. Okay, we'll wait. It was a risky trade. We knew it. Let's wait. Let's wait. It's clearing out all this liquidity. Let's wait till it gets up into this wick. And again, if we do the 50% thing on the wick, okay, the 50% of the wick is right in this area, and we've already broke down that orange line earlier today, so we've got time. This is our trade. We're waiting for it. Guys, put your chats on what trades you guys are in. So I'm in a 30 buy. I'm in profit. I'm in a UCAD sell, small profit, and my EJ is basically at break even. What trades are you guys in? We got 9 people here. You would think that most of you guys would be in some sort of trades. Maybe there's a few of you guys. $8.44. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab my phone. Okay, let's go 30. 30's pushing. So maybe we should just put a limit. Let's just put a limit in then on the 30. Let's come to this
had retracement. We had a break. It's not a dumb trade. It is setting higher highs and higher lows. I kind of wish it would have broke that trend. One, two, two. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to put a trade in at right between the 78 and the 886, basically 39,100. 39,100. I'm going to go 39,177. 39,177 for my stop loss. Actually, that's not correct. I'm going to come down off that. So altogether, that's a 1% trade. All right. So I'm going to put my entry right in this area, 39,100-ish. And then obviously my stop loss is going to be there. And yeah, this long is still in going. So I just closed out partials, but that long is still going. I'm going to let that runner go. I do not have a take profit on that, I don't believe. I do, but I'm actually just going to move it way, way up. And move that take profit on the runner away. And see if we can't catch a sell here. So we're using our fib zone. We're using the completion of the Elliott wave. And if we come back out to a higher time frame, the reason why we're looking for this trade is that we saw this break. Okay. High, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and it's retracing this move. So we could draw a fib from here to here, which is the bottom. This is the 61.8, which is the magical fib number, right? And it's completion of the wave. I really was hoping it would give us a new lower low right there, and then pull back. It did not, which means the bulls are still in charge. But I'm still willing to take the shot at this entry because it's the proper stop loss. And it's a proper risk reward. Our TP would be right there. It's almost a 4-to-1 trade. Our TP1 at the extension, and then we're going to let that thing try to run. It gets us actually into another buy zone right here. So we've got to be able to take these trades. Again, there's no real news today. I don't know what time dipshit from the Fed speaks. In an hour and 11 minutes at 10 o'clock. United States. I don't even know who that guy is. Maybe I need to study that more, but whatever. He's at 10, which is in an hour and 12 minutes. So, but this is something else that now that I think about this, guys, what we need to do, what I need to get better at, maybe you guys do too, is going through these previous days. You know, let's see, like last time the S&P came out, ISM. I'm not too concerned about those, but maybe these Jolt job openings. Like if we click on the Jolt job openings, we see what it says. We come down, we look. Give me the graph, fucker. Here it is. Okay, so January 30th, right? January 3rd. So January 30th was the last time the Jolt job openings happened. January 30th. So if we come back, look at 30 pushing. January 30th was come back out to, let's say, the 2 hour. January 30th. Where are we at? Where are we at? Right here. Okay, January 30th at 00. So right here, right? 12, 6 in this time frame. So last time the Jolt job openings came out, the market tanked. 8 o'clock in the morning, for me, that's market open, 8:30. It gave us a a consolidation candle, and then the ASIN fell out and broke off. Okay, so we should be able to go back and look at the days or the last time. So that was January 30th. What is this day? December, January 2nd. Look right here, January 2nd. We say it's January 3rd. January 3rd, right here. So we're also in a downward trend. It's selling off. So the last two times the Jolts came open, it sold off. We can use that bit of information to
to maybe help predict what it's going to do this time. So if we come back up here, perhaps today is going to buy up and then it's going to screw around because the market's already open and it's just going to consolidate. But if news comes out tomorrow, what day was that next jolt? That's a Wednesday. That's the turnaround day, right? It comes out at 9 right after market opens. So perhaps we're going to see this push up and screw around today and tomorrow. Wednesday, when the job openings comes out, the jolt openings, we'll see the sell-off. So again, we have that in the back of our head. We can start to employ these previous days and previous market flows and see if we can't help enhance, right? Waiting for 30, scalp 30, buy, then sell. Waiting for re-entry, selling EJ, still waiting. There we go. I'm just observing. Colton, thank you. Colton's just checking it out. So what did gold do? Yeah, see, gold's still pumping off. So we took our shot. We tried it, and it didn't work. So we'll just, it is what it is. We'll be patient. But I mean, look at the divergence now, though. 1, 2. Now we really have divergence, right? Like, I don't like playing this game, though. We short it once, we short it again, we short it again. We keep just trying to short, and we end up just getting all of our lunch money taken. So, we had our shot. Way overbought. I mean, is it going to turn around? Yeah, it's going to at some point. When? I don't know. But just look at how fucking high it is. How overbought it is. It's crazy. It's just like it. I'd love to get in those sales. It's just mental torture. We want to be in the best sales, not all the sales. So we'll just wait. Again, look at how strong this 30-minute candle is. It's pretty amazing. It's kind of. I mean, I guess we should have. Now this is a perfect example, guys. None of you guys said anything. Why were we not buying again right here? Why were we not buying? We should have kept our eyes open for this fucking buy. It was a trend line rejection. This is what I'm talking about when I say I need to have my eyes open. Why are we not buying right there? Son of a bitch. You guys in the chats, you guys are on here with me. Why are you not like, yo, Nick, that's 78 rejection on the flip side. You're already in buys, and that's a trend line rejection. This is why we got to keep our fucking minds open. You guys need to help me out too, man. You guys are in the chats with me. Come on, you guys. Juan, Wayne, Chris. I know I trade with you guys all the time, man. You guys should have fucking hollered at me on that one. That'd have been a fucking buy. All right, I gotta log that in my fucking journal. Look on the flip side. Why were we not in buys on that? Talking about this other shit when I should have been looking at those buys. That's a perfect trend line rejection, perfect fucking zone, and it's oversold on the RSI. Motherfucker. We should have been in those buys, dude. We should have been in those buys. And it's like a continuation. There's 90 reasons. Continuation of trend. It's a bull market. Missed that one. I missed that entry screwing around. I mean, I still have the runner. I'm still in the buy, so it's not like I'm completely missing out. But Jesus, I should have seen that. I should have seen it. Delete all this shit. Get my mind back in the game. So the same thing. Is there NAS buy setting up then? No. I mean, I don't. There's a trend line for sure, but that's a hell of a. Yeah, good job, Chris. Chris was the one person that had his head out of his ass this morning. Fuck. How did I not see that? What was I thinking? I was too zoned in on the sales. And I need to get better at doing that. I need to get better at like, okay, here's where I'm looking for sales. Where am I looking to buy? And I would have seen that. There's no way I would have not have seen that. Continuation of trend. I mean, you could say that candle right there is liquidity. Come down, smash through that candle, find resistance, and then go. How did I not see that? And that gets too much shit on these charts, I guess. I need to delete some of this stuff. Get rid of this. Get rid of all of it. Damn it, that was it too. Okay. Well, there's no more buys to be had, so the only thing is back to plan A, I guess, which is the sells. Idiots. And again, the sells is not out of the picture because this is consolidation zone. Right? Let's wait for the consolidation zone, and then we'll try to sell it. I already have a limit in right there. So it is what it is. It would have been nice to catch those couple hundred pips on fucking those buys. 140 pips. Yep. Yeah, the 30-minute trend line is the one we're looking at. The rejection right here. Unless you're talking about a 30-minute trend line on the sell side, which I don't see yet. I mean, excuse me, on the buy side, which is not there yet. It's rejecting that now. Yeah, we got to keep our fucking brains open to the. And we were just talking about that. I was just saying that we need to, and maybe perhaps I was off on a fucking tangent and I wasn't paying attention, which is 100% possible. And the fact that we're trying to do live trade and try to drop knowledge and look at the comments and do these things. So maybe this is a learning lesson for me. Obviously, it is a learning lesson. Maybe I need to. If I'm going to do the live trading and the thing in the morning, maybe I just not look at the OBS. It's called OBS Studio, not look at the OBS, so I can't see all you guys and just train and just do my talking. And if you're here, you're here. And if you're not, you're not. It is what it is. But that was a clear missed opportunity right there. But it's okay. But again, some of the best things we do is not taking trades. And I'm not saying that was a good decision, not taking that trade. But we didn't lose any money, and we just chalked it up as a lesson. So lessons are good. And it's the same thing we're doing now. We're chalking this up as a lesson. We did not re-enter on the gold, and there it goes, right? And the same thing on the gold. Like, I would not have taken this trade because there's just not enough support there for me. But there's a 61.8, and there is support into resistance right there. So, that is what that is. And here's the 236. So now look, guys. Here's the 236, and there it goes. There's no entries there. No entries there. We're looking at 30. We're going to try to find an entry for a short on 30. But the buy, the trade for the day was the buy. That was it. It was right at market open. That was everything I looked for. 8 o'clock, right before market open. Get into your zone. Trend line break. That was the trade. Motherfucker. Yeah, the rejection, the 30-minute dot-to-dot rejection. Yeah, it's clear as day. Clear as day. Clear as day. All right, so what are my other pairs doing? Okay, so EJ is rejecting, thank the Lord. CAD-J is also rejecting. So again, we're taking the UCAD, excuse me. And we have not got filled on CAD-J, and GU is pumping up to hopefully give us an entry on GU. So this is it. This is the only thing we got going today is this US30. I cannot believe we missed that buy. It was good work to do. Drink water. Look at that strong move. The buyers are sitting there for sure. No fucking doubt about it. So let's just come back out then. Let's try to look for liquidity and let's figure out where this fucker's going to turn around. All right. So instead of, let's just delete this for now. Let's look at all possible situations. We know that there's that fib zone there, and perhaps we can find a turnaround there. Delete, fucker. There we go. We have the trend line below us, so we know there should be some good liquidity sitting there, and at least right here on these two wicks. Let me close my broker down. It's being stupid. Okay, brokers closed down. Where is the liquidity on the top side? It's clearly right here. It's clearly right there. So maybe this sell that we're looking for now is not the entry we need to be looking for. Maybe the entry we need to be looking for is this right here. Right? Because then that would give us a double top off of this wick. That would give us an 88.6, a double top off of that wick. So what we can do then is we can. There's no reason we shouldn't at least try to catch this Elliott wave sell off. So let's just move some of these fibs out of the way so we can have some clarity here. Okay, we know that this is the sell zone, so we can delete this wick. We can delete that fib. We know that bigger fib is down here, but the buy zone is way down here. So again, we have the 236 off that. We'll make that a red line. Here's the 236, which is also the support resistance zone. 236, which is support resistance. Let's get rid of this. That's the support resistance zone. This is liquidity here. Let's get our charts pretty and done correctly. Okay. So then if we're being prudent traders, the real entry then is right there. The real entry is up here somewhere. Okay. That's the real entry. And then if that's the real entry, then our stop loss needs to be right here. So then our job then is to find that entry up in that area. Now, I'm not saying we can't take this entry, but it is definitely more risky. This entry here is definitely more risky, but it does have its confluences though. Right? It does have the fib zone. It does have the 236 or the higher. It does have this liquidity below it. So I mean, we could take a shot. It does have a much smaller stop loss. We could take that shot and hope and play this to there. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not. I would say it's not as good as this one, but there's nothing wrong with that one. So that was our original plan. The only option we have now is to stick with that plan. If we lose this one, then we just look for a trade right above it. We're in the middle of no man's land on the RSI. So yeah, but Tolton, that's just such a hell of a fair value gap. I mean, I wouldn't take. I mean, I think you were saying a fair value gap. I guess you're referring to this. That fair value gap right there. Alrighty, guys. So at this time of day, it's 9 o'clock. I'm pretty sure that was the trade of the day, and this is why I don't trade past this time. Like, that was the trade. We didn't catch it. Maybe the next hour or so, if we have a sell limit sitting there, we can catch that one. But that's it. The day's done. We're not really going to catch. I'm not even trying to catch this fucking gold buy or the sell anymore. I'm not going to get smacked around by gold like that. On gold. Well, I mean, delete this shit. I mean, I wouldn't really call that a fair value gap. You call this one here, but it hasn't retraced. Unless you're talking about a higher time frame, which we're not even in sales yet, so that's just all wickety area up there. So we're gonna wait on gold. Let's let it do what it wants to do, and let it show us his hand. If it's gonna reject, let it show the hand. You know. On 30 as well, we should have had that buy. That was the trade of the day. We missed it. It is what it is. It happened right there. We'll log that in our book. And we will not forget to have both situations from this point forward marked on our chart. Now, I was looking for sells, but that does not give me the reason not to have the chart on the buys lined up. I should have at least had that fib drawn there and seen the trend line. Unexplainable. It's unexcusable is what I'm trying to say. All right, and I'm not even worried about this. We'll let that do its thing. So that's it for the day, guys. If it does come back up in this area, must have been looking at something else. Yeah, it happens. All depends on the time frame too, Colton. Dude. So here's the deal, guys. I have a limit set here on gold right there at the 39 like 100 area, which is just above the 236, and basically this is 618, which is there's 90 fucking confirmations sitting there. So I have that, and I have my stop loss at 39 136. So basically 136 points stop loss there. Maybe that's just a tad bit more. Some people like 100, but whatever. We'll see if we can catch the sell and the break of a trend line. Once it touches the trend line this many times, it's bound to break. 1, 2, 3, at least 3, if not 4 touches on the trend line. You would like to see it break then. The more touches on a trend line, the more it's acceptable it is to breaking. We did have this sell. We do have a pullback. It hasn't quite broken the internal structure yet, so that's kind of going against us, but there could be an opportunity there. So I'm willing to take that risk right there at 39 100, and it's a cycle level, whatnot. That's it for the day, guys. That's the trade. We missed the 30 buy. It's all good. We'll look for the sells. We're not messing around with NASDAQ, and we tried to scalp 30, and it just went to the moon. So again, we'll be more patient and look for 30 sales. Gold sales later in the week, or perhaps buys. Right? If it comes back down, then we can look to buy it. So we'll just see what it does for the rest of the day. We'll let gold lift her dress up and show us what she's got before we try to enter that bad girl. Right? We don't need to get caught with any shit. And yeah. Again, I'm not looking to sell just yet. Some people might be, but I'm good. I'll be patient. That's the theme for this week. Best trades, be patient. And right now for me, the best trades above. Okay, guys, y'all have a good day. 9 o'clock. If it doesn't hit the next hour or so, I'll probably delete that limit and go about my day. So we missed the trade today, but I'll just keep us eyes. We'll be better tomorrow. Y'all have a good day. Thank you very much, Colton and Chris and Wayne and Juan and Mr. Shapiro. Wayne, we got that DC's in here. What up? And Mr. Blake, thank you, all you guys for joining in. All 6 of y'all still here. Y'all have a good day, and we'll see you guys, mania.